Street Fighter IV is renowned as the game which brought fighting games back to the forefront of popular multiplayer gaming, created a huge boom within the FGC, and basically helped get the scene to where it is today in terms of tournament numbers, event growth, and online content creation. But it wasn't an easy road for the game, which had its shares of highs and lows. Towards the end of its lifespan, it saw the release of a character which would absolutely break the meta and have the entire player base up in arms. Of course, I'm talking about how broken Elena was in Ultra Street Fighter 4. To understand the bigger picture, we need to look at the history of SF4. We all know how this goes, so I'll keep it brief. 2008, the game dropped in arcades and immediately took the community by storm for its return to roots gameplay and simple yet deep mechanics. 2009, we had a console release with several additional characters, training mode, online play, you know, the usual arcade game to console deal. 2010, Super Street Fighter 4 drops with even more characters and big balance adjustments. Same year, Super Street Fighter 4 Arcade Edition lands and has 4 new characters. This is probably the biggest shift in the game's meta to date, with most characters being nerfed and the arrival of the twins being extremely overpowered and must play in tournament. This would be considered by many, myself included, the worst version of the game. We had to hold that for an entire year until the SSF4 AE 2012 patch dropped, bringing a very welcome balance patch which fixed a lot of issues, and finally nerfed Yin and Yang, putting a stop to their reign of terror. Lots of players considered this to be the best version of Street Fighter 4. 2012 also saw the release of Street Fighter Cross Tekken, which used the same engine as SF4 but added its own mechanics, had a huge roster, and even on-disc DLC. But anyway, this is where things get interesting. In March of 2013, a user by the name of Error1 posted a video of a working mod adding Rolento into SF4, using his Cross Tekken model and moveset. Now, I'm not a modder, programmer, or anything like that, but I imagine the similarities between the two games and using the same engine, etc. This probably wasn't all that difficult if you know what you're doing. It didn't take long for word to get back to then producer Yoshinori Ono, who responded by stating he would relay this to the Street Fighter R&D team, with fans hoping they could take the extra characters added to Cross Tekken back over to the far more popular Street Fighter 4. If only they knew. The trailer for the final version of the game, titled Ultra Street Fighter 4, was shown at EVO 2013 and, as expected, showed the SFXT characters in action, as well as all these weird zooms and effects. My guess is that the budget for this was extremely small and it was from an early build of Ultra, so maybe they just threw this together quickly for something to show at EVO. Later that year were the first offline location tests for the arcade build of the game, and even as early as that, Japanese players were mentioning in their feedback that the new characters, minus Hugo, felt very strong. Now, it's not uncommon for fighting game devs to make additional characters strong to improve sales, but these characters were strong for a different reason. Fast forward to the arcade and console releases and we can see why. Not only were these characters strong from a toolset perspective, they were super awkward to fight against due to their janky, broken hurt boxes and hitboxes. Some characters couldn't even land a normal B&B combo on them. These characters were obviously poorly tested, and their jankiness could have been down to them still retaining some of Street Fighter Cross Tekken's code when they were ported over.
Oh, yo, the corner! Yeah, no, just so you guys know, that forward and fierce on counter hit is supposed to knock down like Zangief's. However, in Cross Tekken, it had a wall bounce, so it's being tweaked right now.
I mean, again, I'm no expert, but when you basically copy-paste characters from one fighting game into another already existing fighting game with its own meta and balance, which took years to develop, you run the risk of seriously disrupting that balance, right? Well, they did exactly that. SF4 had already built a reputation of being an exceptionally defensive game, with long round strategies being a lot more common than you'd usually see in other fighters. Overall, SF4 had fairly low damage, and scaling racked up pretty fast to deter long combos and the like. That isn't to say burst damage didn't exist,
Oh, he caught him in the backdash!
but playing defensive often felt like the safer strategy, When I say defensive, I mean strategies like invincible normal backdashes, focus attacks, focus backdashes, FADC, buffers and whiff punishes. All of this was super common, and there was one character who did it all way better than the rest of the cast.
The established meta of which character beats which character may be changing as we watch.
This is where Elena comes in. Her backdash was infuriatingly good, covering a long range extremely quickly, making amazing use of SF4's invincible frames on normal backdashes.
Oh,
how did that still link?
Give me a break, Capcom,
Oh
please.
my god.
She would throw out buttons seemingly for free from any range, confirming any whiff punish or wish punish into a full combo from anywhere on the screen.
Oh,
no!
The full
What?
screen crowd speed.
What a perfect way to end the tournament.
Then retreat and repeat this nonsense. Even on block, these specials felt unpunishable most of the time. She was a nightmare to lock down and force to actually block, and we haven't even mentioned the tool that made her the most broken character in SF4 history.
Potentially on the table.
Oh,
He finds the knockdown.
Oh,
The Malice Dash. Is he going to steal it away again with the healing? Yes. Here it comes. The Tyrus Dash. 1 second.
Oh my god.
Yes, she was the only character in the game who could actually gain health back.
Is he going to switch to Eleanor?
Oh,
He
and
is.
the gloves are off.
Ultra 2 allows her to heal herself, which in a slow-paced defensive fighting game is downright unfair and felt like a cheat code. Now, the reason why this was so problematic is because in SF4, you build Ultra Meter from taking damage, so it's going to be prevalent in every single round. This was also separate from the Super Meter, which means she can freely also use her amazing EX moves in addition to having the Ultra threat. This whole thing entirely could have been avoided if Capcom had only put a bit more thought into it and switched healing from her Ultra 2 to her Super. That way she would kind of have to commit and choose between amazing EX moves or healing, not both. She did have healing as her Super Art 3 in SF3, but that was a radically different game, much faster pace with completely different mechanics, so it wasn't really a big issue there.
Healing?
Yeah, no Brave Dance go into healing.
Oh my god, you're right.
Let's talk about why this was so strong in SF4 and why Elena essentially didn't have a bad matchup. Any single hitting fireball is able to be focus absorbed for free, which builds Ultra Meter. You can see how borderline toxic this can get for characters like Guile. Like, how is he supposed to win when Elena deletes most of his offense, and for every projectile thrown, you are basically giving her health back? She could easily punish almost everything in the game with her amazing reach fast light attacks, which led into a knockdown into even more pressure. In fact, any knockdown in general could potentially lead into healing, stacking the odds even more in her favour. With the Capcom Pro Tour at its hottest in 2015, and with big prize money and a chance to qualify to Capcom Cup on the line, players would of course take the easiest route to winning Pro Tour events. You'd see counter picks across the board with legendary players such as Cien, Momochi and Gamerbee taking her to victory. Take it from someone with personal experience, I was counterpicked by Gamerbee in top 16 winners at DreamHack Summer 2015, and let me tell ya, it can feel hopeless against this character in the right hands, especially for characters with limited options here such as Bison.
I like that. I like that.
She heavily impacted EVO and many pro tournaments that year, with Elena players qualifying for Capcom Cup 2015 also.
Third healing from Gamerbee.
Surprisingly, she didn't make top 8 there, with Kazunoko reminding everyone why Yun was still a threat. People still cringe thinking about how unfair she felt to fight against, and how much of an impact she had on the meta at the time. Even today, it's almost a gentleman's agreement to not use her, and it's rare to see her in the few USF4 tournaments that happen now and then. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed this video guys. I'm streaming a variety of games on Twitch almost every day, and we have an awesome community over there, so feel free to stop by, the link's below. Who knows, I could be live right now. Alright guys, I'll see you in the next video.